Generic Draft League Pokemon intro. Another Draft League is starting. Welcome to the Paradox Draft League Plateau. The commissioner this time is Lewis. Okay, I'm not gonna do the entire fucking video like that, but yeah, you get it. It's another fucking Draft League. I don't know how to do a fucking intro. I'm not gonna do the generic fucking YouTuber shit. But yeah, PDLP, Lewis is doing it, and there are some draft conditions, and this is just a totally brand new draft league. It's not like FPL where I was like a replacement. I drafted this shit, so I can't blame my losses on drafting a team that I don't have. So that's good, but also bad because if I lose, then I don't have any Johns. But whatever. But thank you to Lewis for hosting this shit, and let's get the drafting rules out of the way. So this league has a budget of 120 points. Tera captain rules are different from FBL, where in that league there was a budget with 25 points you could use on like Terramons. In this league, not only can you only have one Tera captain, but that Tera captain can only have 2 types, and if you do decide to make that one Pokemon your Tera captain, it costs an extra amount of points depending on what tier it's in. And before I get to my round 1, we were 6th pick in the draft, and I was looking at the board, and obviously there's the shit like, Xianbao, Dragapult, Urshifu, and then like Chiyu and all that shit. But I was like, I've already drafted most of those motherfuckers. I want to get something new. I want to get something that's going to be able to carry me. So I wanted a Tera Cap to really carry me through shit. And somehow, at 6th pick, I was able to get, in my opinion, the best Tera Cap on the board, Baxcalibur, which cost me a measly 23 points to get with Terastallization, which sounds like just a sarcastic, oh, measly, because it's a lot of points. But, like, the maximum amount you were able to pay for a Tera Captain was 25. So, I mean, I know 23 and 25 are very close, but, like, it's only, 2 points benefit is a 2-point benefit, Now, I tried to get the shit banned. I tried to get the shit banned before the draft. Before the draft, there were multiple polls, and they were like, okay, I wanted to ban Tera Annihilate, I wanted to ban Tera Sneasler, I wanted to ban Tera Roaring Moon. Most of those shits were allowed. I don't remember which ones were banned. I know Bundle, I successfully banned. Thank fuck, I don't have to deal with that shit. But Baxcalibur, I tried to ban this shit. Nobody did. So you bet your ass I'm gonna exploit this shit. Like, Ice Dragon, seemingly dogshit typing. Probably dogshit type. Well, defensively dogshit typing, but then just Terastallize, get yourself less weaknesses, and then just fucking D-Dance or SD, and you win the game. Easy money. Now, what Baxcalibur needs is shit to be able to break through stuff before it can set up D-Dances. So, to round up my initial core, what I like doing is just getting Pokemon that synergize with each other in terms of types. So I have a Dragon Ice type, I have a Tera Dragon. What does Tera Dragon really struggle with? Like fairies and all that shit. So I was initially looking to take a Steel type, but then I also thought, hey, Hazard Stack would be funny, wouldn't it? Just exploit the most 2 glaring flaws of a Paldea meta, which is just way too much offense, Terastallization, and lack of fairies. And lack of removal. Most importantly, lack of removal. And that is why round 2, I decided to get Greninja. Now, Greninja and Baxcalibur don't initially seem to pair up that well. But this was just another piece of what I wanted. Like, for my initial core, I wanted 2 mons that don't traditionally have the most glaring synergy, and then just get one connecting piece to rule them all. And I just wanted Greninja more because I if the next Pokemon I wanted got sniped, I always had like 20 other fucking backups. So if that got taken, I was totally fine. If I didn't get Greninja, I don't know what the fuck I was gonna do about my speed. Having base 122 is amazing, and the spikes just whittle down teams, get them in range of everything from Baxcalibur, and then just Dragon Dance with that Mon, or even just Banded Ice Shard and just GG. Like, the problem with this is, yeah, obviously the fairy and fighting weaknesses that they have with each other, it's rough defensively, but offensively, there are very little things that can switch into both of these, and the things that can are opportunities for me, for Greninja, to set up the spikes, and then just continuously keep coming. If those things decide to keep coming back in, they are either forced to run boots or take the hazard damage. And the speed that Greninja offers, the offensive synergy, just in terms of like, I have a special attacker and a physical attacker, you know? Like, I'll have a breaker and I have a cleaner, just not perfect synergy, just in terms of like offensive and defensive synergy. They lack defensive synergy, but when it comes to offensive synergy, it's pretty good. But not as good as the thing that blows my mind that I got fucking round 3. Now, I was eyeing this Pokemon for a long-ass time. Like, I was initially gonna get, like, Iron Hands or something just to really, like, get rid of the bulky waters, have a really good answer to them. I was also initially looking at, like, Sandy Shocks to slap on the hazards even more, and have myself a little bit of momentum, fix up my speed tiers a little bit. But then, when it got to finally got to my pick, I looked at a Pokemon that pairs perfectly with these two that I was eyeing, but I didn't think I'd actually get. I got fucking round 3 Golden Go in 16-person Paldea decks. Some fucking how. Generally, I don't know why. Like, I don't understand how I got this core, but Greninja Golden Go. One sets up the hazards, the other prevents defog. It's perfect. And with Baxcalibur, it's just like, spam Make It Rain. Any fairy that tries to... Any resist that wants to come in, okay, that's just in range of Greninja or Baxcalibur. Any normal type that wants to come in on, like, Shadow Ball, it's just another thing for Baxcalibur to set up on. Like, any chip that I get with Make It Rain puts things in range of both Greninja with Battle Bond and Baxcalibur with Dragon Dance. So I think just Golden Go fits perfectly into this team. I don't know how I got this mon. Bax, Golden Go, Greninja. I'm so happy with this initial core. So for my round 4, I knew I wanted to get a fairy. I was looking at the board, and I was like, okay, fairies, they're going fast. I need to get a good one while they're there. And I just saw my favorite fairy type on the board, which, well, that's in the game, because Mega Audino is my favorite fairy type in general, but my second favorite fairy type of all time, I got Sylveon! Whee! Like, this is the main pivot of the team. I don't know how much I like that, because Baton Pass isn't something Sylveon always wants to do. But it's good enough, you know, it's slow, it's bulky, it passes wishes. Like, I think it's perfect on this team, just the first tank of the team, because right now my team's just all offense, 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 and I wanted something to patch that up. I also got a good fighting resist, because, you know, Golden Go doesn't want to come in on every fighting type, because a lot of fighting types get some form of dark or ground coverage, or fire coverage, because Fire Punch. So Sylveon is a better answer to those. Not a perfect one, but better. And Wish Support just keeps my team healthy, allows them to keep coming back in, doing more offense, tanking hits, go back into Sylveon, Wish, get them back healthy. I don't know. None of these scenarios are actually gonna fucking happen, probably. They never fucking do. But it's good synergy nonetheless, which I like. So I wanted to get something for fire types. Not necessarily a switch-in, but just things that I could potentially revenge kill them with. And something to patch up my speed tiers, because I saw Greninja at 122, I go immediately to Baxcalibur at 87, and then immediately and then to Goldengo at 84. So I have like a very weird speed tiers. I wanted to get something faster, I wanted to get another breaker, just like more offense. More offense. Probably should have gotten some momentum, but you know, it's whatever. But I got Lycanroc Dusk. What Lycanroc does for this team is just, like I was saying with my lead up, patches my speed tiers, another breaker, you know, just like all that shit. But it also gives me something that I think this team really, really appreciates, which is just really, really, really strong priority. Tough Claws, Excel Rock hits like a fucking truck, and so does Baxcalibur Ice Shard, and less so Greninja Water Shuriken, but that's also good priority to have. Just strong priority, in addition to my strong speed tiers, in addition to my strong hazards, just making my team one hell of a thing to deal with, you know? I think that's really, really strong. You know, force the most prep, like, force the ground types to come to handle the Excel Rock, so that my Baxcalibur can, or Greninja can exploit that. Same deal with Golden Go, but like to a much stronger extent, since grounds only defensively or offensively handle Golden Go. As meanwhile, Lycanroc, like, you need a strong bulky ground type to handle Lycanroc, and even then, like, Tough Claw's close combat also hits like a truck. Very oftenly, I use this mon incorrectly, so I lean towards not wanting to draft it just because I really, really struggle when I use it, but I really hope I'm able to get my redemption with this Pokemon in one of the leagues that I drafted in, because at most I've gotten like 3 kills in a season with this Pokemon, which is just very strong misuse of it, but hopefully things go a little bit better with this Pokemon this season. Right now, I'm in the stage of I want to fix up my speed tiers, because even after getting Lycanroc Dusk, which was to fix the speed tiers, it doesn't perfectly close the gap. So I just wanted to get something that would perfectly do that, you know, something to get me from 122, 110, and then just something in that range, 87. Which I think is fine enough, because that prevents any Pokemon from that general speed range to run Modest and or Adamant. So I got Paldean Tauros, Blaze, the fire one. So this has really good synergy with just my whole team. Intimidate with Sylveon, just for like that physically defensive, specially defensive core, which I really like. Fire and Fairy just have really good defensive synergy with each other too, which I really like. And Fighting and Fairy have really good offensive synergy that I really like. So Paldean Tauros actually fits pretty damn perfectly into this team. Intimidate, softening up shit so that my Baxcalibur can come in better, Dragon Dance up, and just destroy. And just breaking through the steel types that might want to switch into Glaive Rush. Not really. Not Tera Dragon Glaive Rush. But unfortunately, it isn't the most reliable Pokemon, but you know, that's kind of what happens when you get into these like more mid-tier picks. But like otherwise, I mean, this thing is just basically perfect on my team, and with Wish Passing from Sylveon, I can keep it healthy. So it's basically everything I wanted from my previous pick. Like, I initially wanted Arcanine, but at the same time, I think Arcanine would have been too expensive, because it's 12 points instead of 9. So I don't think Arcanine would have, like, compensated for, like, the whole team. Like, I think Tauros allows me to get all the utility I want out of Arcanine without exactly failing at that shit, you know? Or, like, I don't know, fucking know. Just, okay. Tauros allows me to get all the utility I wanted out of Arcanine while being cheap as fuck. And, you know, Sylveon's always there, keeping it healthy, keeping it going. It's great. Next up, I wanted a fucking ground type. All the ground types were going right now. Gastrodon, Quagsire, like, Clodsire, Treads, like, they were all gone. There was, like, no fucking ground type on the board. I didn't want to end up with, like, Sandaconda as my ground type, so I chose the best shit there, Mudsdale. Like, and this actually gives me my first reliable stealth rocker, because I did not even mention that shit with Lycan Rock. I got that because I guess it got stealth rocks, but this thing is like something I can actually click stealth rocks with. Another physical wall, just to pair with Sylveon well. Ground and Fairy obviously pair really, really well, offensively and defensively. Well, not really defensively, but, offensively they pair really well. And Sylveon and Mudsteel specifically, because of their stats, synergize really well together, which I really like. It's just, in general, just a really, really good defensive core I have going here. Like, I'm getting all my offense in the beginning, and then just defense, 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 which is mainly how I draft. I don't know if that's good or not, but, top-heavy offense to scare them out, and then low-tier defense to tank hits and shit. It's what I like. Next up, I wanted more rockers, since, I have Golden Go, I have to stack up on the hazards, I need to threaten the hazards, so I wanted another thing to do that. I also wanted a ground resist, because so far, I have none. Like, I realized this way too fucking late, but I literally have no ground switch-ins, so in this stage of the draft, I'm just, mad panicking for a ground resist, or ground immunity in this case. Because next up, I got Mesprit. I desperately needed a ground immunity. I desperately needed, just pivoting. Because, yeah, my only pivot is Sylveon with Baton Pass right now. That isn't some wacky shit like Eject Pack close combat. Or, actually, no, Greninja has U-turn, but Greninja doesn't really want to use U-turn. Because anytime I'm predicting a switch, I want to click spikes. I want to stack on that damage, and I want to do it well. So I think Mesprit is a good enough pivot to the point where, it can be relied on to take hits, it can be relied on to U-turn. Unfortunately, it did lose knockoff this gen, but, that doesn't really matter. Mesprit does everything I wanted to do here. My only problem is I wanted Uxie. I wanted Uxie, damn it. I use Uxie way too much, but I love that one just because of how bulky it is. But, I'll settle for Mesprit. It's fine, it's whatever. And next up, same thing I wanted with Mesprit, basically. Another pivot, another ground immunity, another... Just, really getting all the types that I don't currently have. Two very important ones, flying and normal. I got a pretty good defogger too. I got Braviary, and pretty good defogger for 7 points is Paldea Dex in a nutshell. This thing is the third best defogger in this fucking meta. It's kinda crazy. But, gives me defog, which is always a good option. I mean, I know it's not spin. I would have preferred a good spinner on this team with Golden Go and all my hazard stack, but just having the option to defog I also think is fine. Obviously I'm not always gonna click defog with this mon anyway, so I think I'll be fine. And, just gives me ghost immunity, which having my ghost resists, my ghost switch-ins be Greninja and Braviary is probably not for the best. But it's just nice to have the option there to begin with. It gives me these low tiers I can't really talk as much about because they don't offer as much as the high tiers, which is, why they're cheaper. But I think Braviary gives this team decent enough value to be worth it. And it's a really late Braviary too, so I like it. Next up, I honestly just wanted a water type, a bulky water type. Or, as bulky as you can get with only having 9 points. And I also wanted my grounded poison type, because, yeah, I don't have a fucking grounded poison type yet. I don't want to lose T-Spikes. I don't want to be forced to run boots against, Glimora, Well, I mean, I probably will run boots against Glimora anyway, but, just, exaggeration. T-Spike scary, I want to abuse them with not Greninja, and I want to ground the poison type so that they're discouraged from coming. So I got my boy Quillfish. I have an Intimidate core now with Paldea and Toro, so, I can continuously come in on scary physical threats, whittle them, just like force them to switch out because of Intimidate, force them to run Clear Amulet because of Intimidate, whatever it may be. Just forcing that kind of prep and or play, I really like. Having another fighting type switch in, which my team doesn't really have, outside of Sylveon, which isn't really good for like physical attackers. So, having Intimidate plus a Grounded Poison, I really like. More spikes, more hazards with Golden Go is always good. And then just, having that option of having a quote-unquote bulky water type. But, it's not exactly the most reliable Pokemon, but, he does the job. He's my boy. I'll keep him. And that's up. I only have 2 points. I'm looking at what 2-pointers there are, seeing if there are any good ones, and for some reason, my next pick, my final pick, Quilladin, is a fucking 2-pointer, which I think is a steal. I think it should be 3. I mean, I don't think it's that much of a steal, but like, it's the best low tier around. It's a type that I don't have already, and it gives me more. It synergizes with my team decently well. Of course, it's a fucking Quilladin. It's not gonna come to like more than 1 game, maybe. But it's not the worst. Bulletproof, grass type, so you're immune to like Sludge Bomb, Pyro Ball. Pretty goated. And then another ground resist with my pretty ground weak team, but it's nothing special. I just wanted to round out the draft, but. Honestly, overall, I'm really happy with the way this team came out. It has so many tools, it is so versatile, I love all the members on it, it's great. Now, like, Sylveon is a great fairy type in Paldea, like, Baxcalibur is fucking broken, Greninja's amazing, Golden Go's amazing, like, I feel like I'm really gonna enjoy this team. But I also might hate it. I don't fucking know. It might just not be my playstyle. But I like to experiment, especially with an in Paldea decks where the meta just forces you to play and draft in a very specific way. It's something I'm not used to, but I'm still fine with it because it teaches me different ways to play and different things to play with. I like it. But yeah, that's gonna be the end of this analysis. Bye bye.